Rising Conversations, where we have meaningful conversation until we reach our destination. Today we are on our way to Baltimore again to walk with the Baltimore City Circuit Court system, youth who are transitioning or awaiting some sort of trial. And so today we are going to be talking to them about effective communication. We're talking about skills that they will undoubtedly need in their lives, in their personal lives, and in their professional lives. I think that skills that we develop in our personal lives can easily be transitioned into our personal lives. It's not like you're going to go and be a great communicator at work, but then you won't be a great communicator in your relationship. Or it's not like you'll have great emotional intelligence or problem solving skills in your relationship, and then when it comes to your professional life, you don't have those same skills and they don't translate over into your professional life. I think when you're talking about developing skills, you're talking about developing skills that are interchangeable, and a lot of those skills have benefits in your personal and in your professional life. And so the better you can get at life skills, and I'm not talking about daily life skills such as washing dishes, cooking, cleaning, those different types of things. Those would be more considered daily life skills. I'm more talking about interpersonal skills, intangibles that we need our youth to develop at a young age so that they can translate into their lives in adulthood. And today we're talking about effective communication, the importance of effective communication. When I think about communication as a whole, I think about not only communicating your ability to communicate an idea or thought to someone else. I also think about, can you extract communication from other people? Thank y'all so much for coming in. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming in. Please don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button when y'all come in. We are talking about communications. Again, this is called Rising Conversations, where we have meaningful conversation until we reach our destination. But essentially, when I think about effective communication, I think about being able to communicate with other people. And so right now, currently, I am going to a juvenile detention center. I do a lot of work at juvenile detention centers in the area, and I teach life skills to youth and young adults who are transitioning from one part of their life into the next part of their life. So we're talking about communication. And when I think about this thing about communication, I usually think about it in the sense of, can you pull certain things from other people? Because here's the thing, I learned that within every complaint, there's a request. Within every complaint, there is a request. So essentially, what does that mean when you hear there's a request in every complaint? Meaning, most people, when they communicate out of complaints and not out of request. Furthermore, what that leads to is people will come in a place and they'll go, man, it's hot as hell in here. Man, it's hot. As opposed to, and so when you think about communication, you got to be able to pull out what it is that they're asking for. If someone comes in and says, man, it's hot, essentially they're asking, can you make it cooler? If someone comes to you and your partner says, see, I just want you to stop lying to me. All you do is lie to me. Can you stop lying to me? And what they're asking, they're complaining, but they're asking you to do something, even though they're complaining about the thing that you're doing or that you're not doing. So they want you to stop lying. Essentially, they want you to start telling the truth. Please make sure y'all hit that subscribe button for me as y'all come in. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit the like button as well. This definitely helps to push out this live to other people. We're doing a lot of work in the community, helping youth and young adults transition back into society from the juvenile detention center, the juvenile detention system. So if you support this mission, I would love your support in and continuing to to better and to further this conversation. But so people complain about certain things, and you, as the good communicator, a lot of times you have to be the person to extract that request from what it is that they're saying. Communication, I was doing some research, and I learned there are a couple of different ways that people like to teach communication, but the most effective way that I saw to teach communication is that there are 5 C's to communication. Be clear, be concise, provide a compelling request. Oh man, and I can't remember the other 2. That's gonna bother me that I can't remember the other 2. Be clear, be concise, provide a compelling request, be compassionate. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember the 5th one, but it's in my notes. But so be clear and be concise. And I think these 2 can kind of be the same in a sense, a little bit interchangeable. I think some people, when we think about communication, we don't think of, we like to like tell the whole story, but we never really get to the point. Meaning in communication, in conflict, what we notice is that a lot of people focus on the negative as opposed to the solution. So in the midst of a difficult situation, what you'll see is a lot of people begin to complain about the situation and what the situation is, as opposed to coming up with a solution and what would be best in order to move forward. I'm one of those people who, when a situation is what it is, I don't like to talk about the situation. I want to talk about the solution. And then after the problem is solved, then what we can do is we can go back and then we can come up with a plan on how to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So what's the plan on how this doesn't happen again? And I think a lot of people waste a lot of time doing certain things, or they waste a lot of time worrying about certain things as opposed to communicating what it is that they want. And here's something that was interesting to me that I've learned throughout my process. I've never seen anxiety or stress help a situation. I just haven't. No one can name me a time where their anxiety or their stress or their depression helped the situation. Those things do not help situations. They essentially make situations worse, and they waste time. Stress, anxiety, waste time. Depression, waste time. Stress about a situation, it doesn't help a situation, it wastes time. Because you know what happens when you have anxiety? Anxiety almost paralyzes you. It almost stops you from moving. It stops you from making a choice, making a decision. And when you're in a stressful situation, the one thing that you have to do is you have to make a decision. But if you have anxiety about it, you're going to make the decision, and you're going to question the decision. And this is why I love sports, because sports teaches you short-term memory loss. For real. Because sports happens at such a rapid pace that you have to have short-term memory loss, because you can't be thinking about the play where you did wrong for too long, because there's another play coming right after it. On the flip side, you also can't spend too much time on the play where you did extremely well, because there's another play coming right after it. And just because you did good on that one doesn't mean that you're going to do good on the next one. So with communication, we got to be able to focus on what's coming next. I know the problem is what it is already, and it's likely that you can't change that problem in a split second. It is what it is. I don't want to know about the problem. I want to know, what is our solution? Okay, now let's solve the problem. It's like if your house catches on fire and you come home and you ask your wife, babe, what happened here? Oh, the house caught on fire. Somebody such and such was here and they were there. And then this happened and then this thing sparked and then it went up in flames. And then I started to try to get everybody out. I don't want to know how the house caught on fire until I put the fire out. When the fire department gets there, they're not coming saying, what happened? They don't want to know what happened. They want to put the fire out and then they'll go back and do their research on what happened. That's what's going to happen. So when we think about communication, in times of conflict, y'all, we have to be able to compartmentalize in that moment and say, you know what, let me solve the problem first. After you solve the problem, then go back and revisit. How can we make sure that this doesn't happen again? And communication, you got to be able to communicate effectively what you want your message to be. Can you communicate it to an elementary school student? I think they say the majority of Americans have fifth or sixth grade education level, or understand or comprehend at a fifth to sixth grade education level. It makes no sense to go somewhere and start talking at an elevated level just to show that you've made, just to show how many degrees you have or your level of intelligence. Can you communicate a simple message to your audience and still have the same effect? Communication is key. You think about it in relationships, you think about it in business. What's one of the biggest problems that we have with our bosses? They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to communicate to us. I don't know how to communicate to them. Same thing in our relationships. Communication, what keeps a good relationship going? Everybody will tell you communication. How do you know your boss is really good? They communicate with me. How do you know your spouse, your partner is good? We just have great communication. We love to have fun and we communicate well. There's no surprise that communication is the essence and the foundation of a lot of great relationships. It's all derived from communication. That's where it comes from. I was in therapy 2 weeks ago. My therapist was talking about, even with my daughter, there's some things I need to fix and I need to repair. How do you fix them and how do you repair them? Through communication. The most difficult part about a lot of relationships is the fact that there's a lack of communication. So we solve that by having regular sit downs with ourselves. We got regular sit downs now where we're forced to have communication at an elevated level. At an elevated level. How many of y'all do that? You're gonna watch this replay back, you're gonna tap in. How many of you all are sit down with your family, with your spouse and your significant others and your bosses and just have regular communication? You have regular communication about certain things. Most of us, we don't. We don't check in with our bosses, with our significant others, with our employees, with our co-workers. We don't check in with them. I'm watching Love is Blind. The dude Tim wants his girl to be a perfect wife, but doesn't communicate to her what a perfect wife is. If I have to tell you that, then you're not the one for me. What? Did he just say, if I have to tell you that, then you're not the one for me? I don't know how to love you. I don't know what you need to be. I don't know what you need to feel loved. We all feel loved in different things. How am I supposed to love you if you don't encourage me and you don't coach me on how to love you? You should just know. You should just know. What? No, I'm not your parent where I should just know. You're grown. You're an adult. You gotta tell me. Let me know something. And then from there, I can start moving and I can start operating in a proper manner. My wife had to communicate some things to me so that I can know how to love her, so I can know how to show up for her. My daughter's going to have to communicate things with me so I can know how to love her, how to show up for her. Got to teach communication skills. Like, come on now. You can't ask somebody to be perfect and then not tell them what it is that you want and make them guess. That's the worst thing. The worst game to play in a relationship is the guessing game. That's the worst type of game to play in a relationship is the guessing game. Oh, you should know what I want. How am I know what you want, fool? How you want me to do that? Just know? I'm not. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility in a relationship is to act and behave in an appropriate manner, as well as do my best to understand you. But I can only understand you if you decide to communicate that with me. Parents, we got to look at our kids and ask our kids, what do they need more from us? It's the problem that we have a lot, is that we don't want to have those conversations. But you got to ask your kids, how can I be a better parent? What more do you need from me? How can I make your life easier? Kids, you got to ask your parents, what more do you need from me? How can I make your life easier? How do you want me to show up for you? Because everybody needs something different. Teachers, educators, what do you need from me? How do you want me to show up for you? People are scared to ask those questions because they're afraid of the answers. A lot of times you're surprised by the answers because people give you different answers than you even intend. We gotta start by asking the right questions. You gotta start by asking the right questions. And asking the right questions looks like being able to sit down with intention and have conversations, tough conversations, difficult conversations about things that are important and about things that matter. A lot of us, we don't want to have conversations about things that matter and things that are important for whatever reason, but you can't operate in that. You can't operate in, low-level conversations. You can't operate in, just meaningless, aimless conversations forever. You got to start having thought-provoking conversations and, conversations that can change your life, man. Communication will always be at the top of everything that we decide that we want to do in life. It's going to require us to be able to communicate. Even with speaking, you need to, there are certain communication styles that you need to learn. There are certain things that you need to understand, because you got to learn how to speak. You got to learn how to teach. You got to learn how to present. These are 3 different types of skills. I mean, truthfully, these are 3 different types of skills. These aren't just skills where it's like, oh shoot, these, I'm gonna learn how to do that. No, you don't just learn how to do that. There's a development process that you'll have to go through in order to learn how to do these things. But they all center around communication. Everything centers around communication. So today we're actually going to play a couple of games. I encourage you all, if you all have some time, I encourage you to learn this game. This is a fun game. It's called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. And it's a game about communication. It's a game that fosters communication. It's fun, but it fosters communication. Forces us to work together. Forces us to learn how to be descriptive and describe certain things. And it's the same way we're playing another game where one person has to draw and the other person has to communicate what it is that they're drawing. Again, forces us to communicate, have conversation, dialogue, be specific. It forces us to do all of those things. So I encourage y'all to practice this and, continue to develop and build this habit, because communication is going to be something that is going to ultimately lead to us having stronger relationships, transformational relationships, not just transactional relationships, relationships that actually have meaning, relationships that actually bear fruit and that we can grow from, that force us to learn and figure things out. That's why communication is so important. Like me about to communicate to this driver, they don't know how to drive. Like me about to communicate to this driver, they don't know how to drive. But yes, y'all, so today we are, someone said, where am I from? I'm from Washington, D.C. The nation's capital. That's where I'm from, nation's capital. Put that in your corn pipe and smoke it. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on here, talk a little bit about that, talk a little bit about communication, some of the things we're going to be going over today. I encourage each and every one of you all, if you don't have that game, download that game. If you if you want more tips in terms of communication, I'd be happy to give those to you. But I think what we talked about today is a great start in regards to how to build great communication, not only within your business, but within your relationships, within your family. It's a start of, and it takes away a lot of that awkward conversation of, man, when can I say this certain thing that I want to say to this person or to these people? It takes that away. I know I still feel a lot of that when trying to have certain conversations with family members. So if you feel that way, having regular check-ins will alleviate a lot of that, because you can have those deep conversations during check-ins. So, all right, good people. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Car Rides and Conversations. We are almost at our destination. I appreciate all of y'all. I will see y'all next